live. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully, you can hear me. I think I've got everything set up and ready to go. GM, can everyone hear me? Perfect. The moment you've all been waiting for, custom alerts are finally here. Just in time for what is an extremely active degen and new launch market. So excited for you guys to start trying these out. I put these steps how to get set up in Telegram, but it's pretty easy. So all you need to do is make sure you have at least one alert already set up in here. So it can be a wallet alert, or to set up a custom alert, simply run your custom alpha stream filters, and there is a create alert button. And that will show up in your My Alerts page, just like this, with all of your parameters. You can name it too. So from there, make sure you put in chainedge_bot, run start, and it's going to ask you for an ID. Your unique alert ID will be found right here. Just paste that. And that's how you get access, because this is, we build everything for subscribers only. So if you're not a ChainEdge subscriber, you don't get to enjoy the sauce. And so once you paste that in, your Telegram will be good to go. And then any alerts that are set up, both from a swap perspective or an advanced filter, will come through in your Telegram. I mentioned it before, but it's still early stages. We're playing with the formatting, and then there's going to be a lot more functionality that goes into the bot. So you'll basically be able to query almost anything from the site. So you can, simple things like command summary, right? And it'll show you this table, and research. Like command new launch digest gets you kind of up to speed on all of these new launches. Holy shit, I haven't seen this many new launches, I think, since we've had the new launch digest. I think we'll even do things like command research, and the links will be to the research, stuff like that. So we're building a bunch of other cool stuff in there. But the goal is kind of just to get this out there. You guys test it, break it. It's going to get a lot better, but at least from a latency perspective, it should be next to zero. So the alerts are working perfectly, but we're playing with the formatting a little bit. Like if you look how it comes through now, it only has one swap at the bottom, and once it's actually going to have all of the swaps that triggered your alert. So you can kind of see what's going on behind it. And then from there, you'll be able to get more data on the token. You can run wallet, P&Ls, stuff like that. But for now, I think this is good enough, because it will at least flag to you when you should pay attention to, if you're doing something like this where you want to see new launches. I mean, you could do this however you want, and you can play. I think you might only be able to have one alert right now, but we'll increase that. It's more just for testing purposes. But by next week, we'll increase the number of alerts you could have. But so you can do really whatever you want. So if you just want to see brand new tokens, right? You can run 0 to 20 minute token age, 100K P&L, and you might need to keep your minimum swap value a little bit lower to make sure you see it. But then, it'll show up in here. We saw, like, just on these filters, right? So I have no number of wallets. Anything in the last 24 hours, 100K P&L. Nothing else. Like, we saw some pretty good ones earlier, at least when I was looking. Something like the whatever the Minecraft token was, APU, another good one. That was at 530. It hasn't APU run a lot since then. Anyway, just examples of, these alerts are pretty good. You're gonna have to build your own process to make sure you don't ape all of them, because you're gonna see a lot of tokens. But we tried to include all of the base data that you need. We're working with a couple providers to get, more of like your standard like checksum, wallet distribution, kind of a Jeet map, stuff like that. But it's going to get a lot more functional. But this is still a significant step, at least for me, because now I do not have to spend time on the site if I'm not at my computer, or it can be a signal to kind of go to the site and check out what's going on. You can also, if you're not really worried about this kind of stuff and you're more worried just about just fund flows, you can run just like a really basic, let me see if I have one. Yeah, so I ran like a 10K net, right? Oh, what did I do? Okay. So for this one, instead of worrying about token age, P&L, anything, I said, hey, I know the chain age wallets are all good. I don't need to filter by P&L. I just want to see when there's a $10,000, imbalance in flows, right? So that's, there'd be 20,000 of buys and 10,000 of sells, or 10,000 of buys, no sells, right? So just net 10,000 of flows, and it will, across two wallets is actually how I did it. So this will just flag to you anytime something like that happens. Again, it's early stages, beta. There's going to be bugs. Just flag them to us. If you want things in this initial alert, just send it to us. We're going to make it better. Like, the goal of this is to iterate on these alerts for a couple of weeks until they're perfect, and then we'll launch just, the little buttons and process to trade off of them. And then, cooler things like custom bots, etc., will get added in. I think we're also going to add a liquidity filter into the custom alpha stream filters. I've seen that asked for a couple times. So if you're trying to run like this new launch, kind of like quality degens first 24 hours, you could probably put a minimum liquidity to also try to weed out some of the garbage. But yeah, they are live. Play around with them. There's links to the smart money transaction and to Dex Screener right in here. And we'll be adding a lot of stuff in here in the background, but at least in its current form, it's still pretty usable. And obviously you have one-click copy on the contract address, so if it is something you want to ape, you can, for now, just one-click copy it and go trade wherever you need to trade, whether it's Maestro, Banana, or if you're on desktop, you can just go straight to whatever you use. But yeah, that is really it. So if you haven't noticed, we've included a minimum buy value per transaction filter even in here, because the alerts do not take into account anything that's not accounted for on this panel only, right? So don't expect to do something over here and then you start adding stuff into these fields or clicking emojis or playing with this. That does not get picked up in your alert. So we're trying to get whatever you need in here. And if you haven't been around or are not familiar, for things like how many wallets with criteria, right? So how it actually works. So if I do I want to see just new launches with 200K P&Ls and 33% plus win rates with $400 bought. So this will, let's actually see if I can, let's see if I can find an example. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find one right away. But anyway, so how's that's working with the, I didn't do number of wallets. So if you put 2 wallets, your alert will only trigger when the second wallet with these parameters hits. If you put 3 wallets, your alert will only go once the third swap from a wallet with this criteria hits. And it's on a unique wallet basis, right? So if a wallet with 200k PNL, 33%, and they're swapping 400 on brand new tokens, if they swap 3 times, it's not like if you have this at 3, it's going to trigger, right? It's 3 unique wallets. But yeah, and if you don't like new launch stuff, you can literally just click, you could just multi-click like all of the older tokens and see what's going on over there. But given how fast moving basically anything in this range of token age can be, I feel like alerts are more useful in that bucket. So have at it, test it out. If you have problems, just flag it in the report a bug in the Discord or reach out to me. We will fix any issues, but we're excited about finally getting this out and launching it. It's been requested for a long time, and there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff we can build off of this. So yeah, if you guys have questions, let me know. You get the link to the Discord is in when you sign up as a subscriber. It's in like the welcome to Chain Edge email sequence, so you can find it there because we keep it closed to subscribers only because we have a vibrant community of people making money, at least a little bit, with the market getting a little better. So it is now gated to subscribers only. So let's see if I can find some examples of some bangers. Craft, this is the one I was looking for. So right, so here we just an example. It's like, and you can name your alerts whatever you want. Like I always call it quality degens because it's just the way I like to talk about it. But so, Craft hit this filter, right? And this one's not very, if it were me, this filter is really degen because you're not filtering much by transaction value. I don't think it might be just $500. Let me just look. Yeah, $500, 100,000 P&L, right? So you're gonna see some degen stuff, but I have it set like that, so I make sure I see almost anything that's early. But anyway, so you see something like Bitcraft at 70k FDV or market cap, and I don't know what that is now, but it's probably higher. Yeah, 400, right? Pretty good. So that's almost 6x from there. Jesus, someone buying. There's been a flows in Imperial. Like you can see how this is a way better way to digest some of our data in a much faster and actionable way. I think as tokens get older, obviously the alerts are not as important, but again, the beauty of it is you can set it up however you want it, whatever your trading style is. Customize it, set it up. We have other stuff in the works where you'll actually be able to kind of like back test or see strength of signals in which variables are more important, which ones are getting you better results, etc. Like the goal is you build it, you can customize it to get you the best result, right? Like we just provide the wallets, that are algorithmically added and subtracted based on P&L in the last 6 months, which makes sure that we always have people that have adapted to the current market and can make money. How do you access to your product? So if you just go to chainedge.io, you can sign up there. Yeah, create an account and pay for it. Thanks, Nicholas. What else? Any other questions? People excited about anything? Like, you think I'm joking because I created and designed this entire thing, but this is a very good time to have these alerts back on, because if you look at the amount of new tokens launching, like we are definitely getting at least a little bit of, I don't want to call it froth because it's still pretty low dollar amounts and stuff, but it's definitely exciting. Oh, you can also, so at least for me, I've been using the new launch digest a lot, and I like the 1-day retention rates, which we've covered in the last stream, I think. But you can actually use this as a parameter in your filters too, right? So if you're doing something more like, whenever you start pumping figures up, right, you're going to get less results and hopefully higher quality. So if you do something more like 200K P&L in the first 2 days, and then a decent hit rate and a min buy value of more like 1,000, you could also filter this by 1-day retention rates to try to make sure you're only getting the best ones. Any alert to check highest smart money holdings for new tokens? I guess we could. It's kind of a tough figure because it depends how new you're talking, because something that has a lot of smart money interest, they can start selling pretty quickly. How many wallets should be holding the token in the new launch digest? I look for like at least 3. I feel like if one is aping something weird, I usually do not pay attention. I also usually filter I haven't tested it, but my rule of thumb I've been using is if 10K that was bought and the retention is like 40-50% plus, it's usually pretty good. Like, that's what we've seen in MLP, which has actually done very well. But again, you have to play with it and kind of build a database in your head for what works best. But we also filter out anything with gross buys. That's just buys, right? Not net flows. The new launch digest only shows 1,000 and up, so that hopefully removes some riffraff. Let's see, more questions here. When custom bots to buy from your alerts? So it's actually 2 separate things. So we are almost done with just the ability to one-click buy, right? But that's not actually a custom bot, right? You still have some human judgment going in there, right? So you'll see this alert that fired off Milady Warfare. And so then you could click, you'd fund in the Telegram bot and say, hey, I want to buy 0.1 ETH of this. You'll also be able to eventually do like just straight copy trading. But the custom bots are going to be algorithmic. And what's cool about that is you can basically start playing with any variable you can think of, and then your bot will auto buy or even auto sell any of these tokens based on your own parameters. So that's what I mean by custom bots, right? So you're taking, if you've been using the site for a while, right, our data is good. You know that there are real runners that come from our data. And then you're going to take that and basically, build a programmatic quant custom, strategy for yourself, which is cool, for a lot of reasons, right? One, it's unique to you, so you actually aren't diluting any alpha to yourself. And two, it's automatic. So if you're just like, hey, I want my custom bot to be anytime just this triggers, just buy it for me. And you could set like a fixed ETH amount and make it small, because if you just sprayed at some of these early strategies, you will hit basically every winner, and then it will more than take care of losing on probably all of the garbage that goes to zero that will also get flagged in here. Are the alerts delayed 5 minutes? No. The site is not delayed 5 minutes. I don't know where you are getting that idea. I mean, if I pull up the alpha stream and, it's like 1 minute ago. So we are very, very focused on latency, and there is almost no latency in here. There's probably like maybe 4 or 5% of all swaps fall into like this edge case where we don't catch it right away, and then maybe it shows up a little later, but most of the time, 2 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago. Yeah, was that Joe? Yeah, 3 minutes ago. See, so there's no latency in it. So even if you look at when this alert fired off on this swap at 12:01, if we check it, right? 12:01. So if Rudd, if you're in the Discord, you can flag me examples where you think we're delayed 5 minutes on swaps, because I really do not think that is the case. And we test and monitor that very, very closely. What should money management look like? If you're gonna trade just new launches, treat it like you're a venture capital fund. You should have strict parameters on position size. I typically change my position size actually in relation to the swap values going in. So if it's something new and there's a lot of buys coming in big size, I have more conviction. But sometimes when something's brand new, let me see if I can try to catch one. So if I just do 0 to 20 minutes, nothing else. So there's a new refund token and new Wojak. Don't really know why. But see, in this scenario, you are so early that, good things could potentially happen, but you just want to watch your position sizing, because it's like 90% plus of tokens go to zero immediately. Yeah, I have no idea what this thing is, but you're seeing it quite early. Yeah, 13K market cap. So, that's gambling at its finest. It's either going to go to zero or it'll be a lot more. Can you explain the 1 day retention filter? Yeah, so all we're trying to do is, I wrote a newsletter about this, but all of the money is made in the first 48 hours of trading these tokens, right? Like, and for the P&L we look at, and this is excluding ETH, Bitcoin, and all of the liquid staking ETH stuff. All of the money, of the smart money we watch, right? So all of these 6-month P&Ls comes in the first 2 days, basically, like 75%. The goal of the 1 day held is you have people that have different time horizons, right? There's people that will just buy a new launch, sell within minutes, right? And so you're trying to control for, people that move really fast versus who's buying with conviction. So Kraft, for example, sorry, I didn't even explain the metric. All it is saying, okay, they bought X quantity, right? But they only sold Y quantity. They've retained, this percentage. And we've seen on the tokens that don't, it's not perfect, but like for the tokens that really do well, you see pretty good retention throughout the first day versus things that have zero retention. You can see that it says FDV, but for most of these that's market cap too. You can see like the bad retention ones are usually don't make it versus like WebAI. Like there's people that are bidding and holding. That's all you're really trying to say. Kraft, it's like this is really high for 14 hours in. 71% retention. It's pretty good. MLP, the good old money laundering protocol, pretty good retention. Now sometimes this number will just go down because the tokens went up a bunch, like I think this one has. So again, you can't look at it in a vacuum because as the token goes crazy, they're going to trim some because they also invested a lot. But you want to see at least some retention, especially if the average buy price is close to the current price, right? That's the other reason these are in there, right? So something like, I think WebAI is probably close to the average buy, right? So the smart money's dropped 15K to this thing. They've held on to half of what they've bought. They bought it at 0.21. Let's see if I can pull this up. And it's trading at 0.239, right? It's like, decent. Could be worth a look. You can look at the near-term trading. Good old clapping cheeks. See, there actually hasn't been much. That's also kind of interesting. A tangent, but when the retention stays high and then they're kind of indifferent, that's also usually a pretty decent indicator, right? Like if you look here, like the last transaction was 6 hours ago, 5 hours ago. The last couple buys were 6 hours before that. It's like they are indifferent at the current price. So like they're not buying more, but they're still holding on. So could be good. Would it be possible to have the current token price in the new launch digest? 100%, because me just going through that process shows that the current setup is... The only problem is we are definitely running out of real estate in terms of columns. But yes, we can definitely do that. Yeah, I'll take note of that because I would actually like to have current price like right here. I just have to think about if we can fit it by wider monitor. For sure. Yeah, we've had some people ask for liquidity on the new launch digest too. So I had to figure out how we're going to do that. Another quick tip, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but you can filter the new launch digest just by token age, and you'll just see the new tokens come through and see the stats and see if they're any good. Like I think someone in the chat said they aped this thing. Not crazy. I mean, it's dirt cheap, but not a ton of retention. Yeah, see low dollar amounts, so I always pump up. Also, one click the deck screener window pop out like this. Like you don't want it in the site because we have it in the site. Like boom, there it is. Ooh, it's really selling off now, Jesus. Will the subscription price increase soon? I don't think so. The market's still not crazy, and I'd like to see a couple hundred more subs at the current price before increasing it again. I also don't want to increase it too much when we have all of this cool stuff coming in, because I'd rather have people at the current price come in and try the alerts and the trading tools than have them come in at a higher price, if that makes sense. But it will go up eventually, especially once the web app is due for a revamp, because there are parts of it that are kind of just stale or need fixed. So we're also going to be working on that as well, especially the token pages. I think we can change. I have a lot of. Oh no, yeah. Existing subs, your price never goes up. You're always grandfathered in at your price unless you're paying. If you're paying crypto and you pay quarterly, right, and then your quarterly is up, then you're gonna have to go and pay for the next quarter. And if the price went up, you're stuck. But if you paid annual, or if you're on a monthly through credit card, debit card, etc., you are locked in. And we've been good about that. I mean, for the OGs in here, the pricing when we started in April or March, was much lower. But yeah, like this page, I have a lot of ideas on how to make it better, including more accurately showing like average entry, like areas of interest for smart money, because like you can kind of imply it when you're looking at a chart. Like an example, let me find Bitcoin. But we're also going to put like can you briefly explain how to interpret wallet section? So that is just net flow. So we'll do it on Bitcoin so I can talk about my other point. Yeah, paid annual through crypto, your price isn't doing anything. So you're all good. No, it doesn't matter. So if you're annual, you're annual. You're locked in for a year. You're all good. So you're asking about this. So these are just the net flows, right? So because all of the data for most of these pages, other than looking at the portfolio view or the holdings over time, is swap based, these are just the net. It's buys minus sells for all these wallets for this token, right? So if the one day is 140K, that means if there was 140K of buys or zero sells, or 240K of buys and 100K of sells. So these are all net flows. And the goal of that is saying, you're basically trying to say, like, okay, they are obviously accumulating the token because the token price hasn't changed that much. So there's more buys and sells. If you look here, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, you can see it much more clearly here. So another thing I like to look for on these charts is like, you can't really see it, is when you're seeing a lot more buys, like at a certain price point when the buys are outpacing the sells. But see, you can't really infer it that well here, right? Like these need to be netted, and you need to kind of show, over this time period, where's the average entry, where's their interest. Because these big buys it's definitely more buys than sells over this entire period, and they've been showing that they want a bottom between 0.06 and 0.08, which I covered in the daily summary. But anyway, we're going to revamp this whole thing to also include something around like top holder movement and concentration, maybe like a Jeet map for new tokens, maybe like the behavior, the first 70 buyers and where they came from and what they've done. So, and we're still eventually going to have trading in the site too. So if you are like some of our more active people that just are on their computer all day, and so the alerts are kind of like, you're not going to be in Telegram that often, you'll be able to just trade in the site. So it's like There'll basically be like a trading panel that you can just pop up and say, hey, I want to buy this, and then it'll auto load and you can buy. L or LE, you do not, your price won't change. If you're paid annually, you're locked in. Nothing will happen. So you're all set. And again, if you have suggestions on what you'd want to see on any of these features that we've put in the site, always flag them, because we will build them, because we prioritize shipping over being perfect, and then we'll iterate it to be perfect. But the space is fast, ever changing, always competitive. Everyone's trying to find their edge, and so for you as subscribers, if you come up with ideas on things that would help make you money, flag it and we'll build it in the site. Because yes, you're paying us money, but it is a somewhat symbiotic relationship where if you help us make it better, it's making, the value you're getting for your price, better. And we want you to be making money, or else you're going to churn off, right? So, that's kind of why we don't market the business as, with some of that FOMO marketing you see from other tools, you could have had 1,000x. It's like, we understand that marketing like that is not realistic. I'm about you guys making money, because if I'm making you money, you will stay and you will pay us, and then we'll make money and everyone's happy. And that has served us very well, and that's why we have, all-time highs in users and revenue and daily active users, because we're focused on you guys. What else? Any questions? I've got 10 minutes before I've got to wrap it up. It goes, I didn't say it, but if you just want to get, let's say you don't care much about these custom alerts and you just like the wallets, you could just take a wallet, click it, put it into add to my wallets. If it's in my wallets, you should be able to go to my alerts. Right, it will be, down here. You can click alert on or off. I think you can even do a minimum swap. You will also get swap alerts for your wallets in the Telegram bot. Let me find an example. So they just come through in the standard, just like this. Right, so you can see my wallets. We're actually buying Craft. This wallet was after it was initially flagged by the custom alert. Elaborate a bit on exit strategies. I'm trying to build a whole different almost algo or signaling system for those, because it's a little bit harder. Because buying is only half the battle, but selling is hard too. So it's hard to say you can just watch the smart money, because we went through the example a couple of times where we had all of the smart money people buying Unibot when it launched for 40 cents, and then they sold it at $2, and then it went to 200. But in general, if it's got to be a mix of your own process and the data, right? If you think the project's losing steam and you see smart money kind of bailing, that's when I bail. Versus if the token's getting smoked and you see smart money just buying more or picking up the pace, I usually pay attention. Because you have to remember, some of our wallets are related. They're definitely very connected. They know things better than you or I probably do. So I try to lean on that, but it is tough, and that's not a very good answer for you, Alex. But I'm gonna try. Once we get some of these basic things shipped, I have a whole initiative to kind of have like more like, hey, bottom signal, bottom in Bitcoin, like X, Y, and Z data point are saying, hey, feels like we're kind of bottoming out, turning a corner, or a reversal in smart money movement on X. You should check it out. Or same thing on top signals. Like there's a couple stats that I've used before, like something like turnover, right? Like when the volume of a token, especially after a couple days, like if the volume of the token matches its market cap, it's usually a near-term peak. Not always, but especially once they get bigger, right? Like if a $20 million market cap token trades $20 million that day, it's usually like there's so much attention on it that it's probably going to peak. If I am already subscribed for 3 months and I add 1 year before the end, will it add to the time remaining? It should, but if it doesn't, just flag it to us and we'll make sure it gets done. What are your tips for new launches? Find super early, they go to zero. Yeah, I mean, 98% of all tokens go straight to zero. The easiest way to not get chopped to zero is if you find something new, right, and you go to the socials, you find the project, something like Blocks, and you see, hey, it's not a low effort, it's not a meme coin, it's not a copycat. They built something, that could be unique. Or even like Web AI, right? Like it's not that unique, but it's still, they built something. If that is your filtering process, there's still going to be ones that go to zero, but like you're going to do better. And you're going to have a little more confidence, right? Versus if you buy like Doe, like I think I bought some of this bullshit yesterday, and then I sold it for like a 30% loss. It's like, yeah, it's a meme coin. You're kind of you're spinning the gambling wheel. It's a little bit harder. So usually if you focus on, and then if you go a little bit later, right? So once they start getting older and you start seeing accumulation from a portfolio perspective, which I usually will flag these in the daily research, but something like I usually roll through $1,000 holdings per wallet, and then I filter through token ages. See one person holding 15K of Pipe. See Blocks is like pretty good. Joe. See FLC has been losing steam, and I'm gonna redesign this page too, so the changes are it hits you in the face more. That's like another thing I look for, especially as they start getting a little older, because we've seen like some of these, like we saw it with Vegas for sure, where it's like a little bit of a slower moving moneymaker, where like for a day and a half it was sat at 100K market cap. There really wasn't that much interest. We saw some smart money buys early, and then it ran to like $1 million market cap in a couple days. But yeah, never, if the token's new and you don't know anything about it, always operate that it's going to go to zero. But again, it gives you more confidence, and we're working on some stuff to help with flagging if they have unique stuff built right away. So yeah. Again, if you have any problems with the alerts or whatever, just flag us in the Discord, or you can email us admin@chainedge.io. We'll figure out the problem, because there will be problems, because we move fast and break things, and so there will be bugs or maybe instances of where the alert comes through. The alerts don't really come through late, but if there are issues with that, let us know. We've kind of focused on making sure that doesn't happen. But any issues that pop up, you just flag it to us, and we will get you squared away. Anything else? Tiny. Look at that. I haven't seen a buy wall like that in a while. There you go. There's your little. Oh wait. Wait. Why are all the buys like $1? What in the world is going on here? What in the world is this? Huh. Is there an API for the Alpha Stream? No. We've had people ask for it, but like the problem is like if we give an API out for this, then they can just start taking all our wallets, and then they can take the swaps, and then they can replicate the entire site, and then it's like, well, then what's the point? Like you could just circumvent us completely. We can build some APIs for more custom stuff, but like I don't want to just kind of stream all of our data to somebody for them to just go around and ruin this business that we've worked very hard to build up. Oh, I wonder if they were just snipers. This tiny token. Last piece of advice before I go. Usually when there's just a giant buy wall across a bunch of unique wallets, it's usually a pretty good sign. Like I remember the day Shia launched, and literally the whole buy page of the Alpha Stream was Shia. Yeah, look at this thing. It was literally like 60K market cap when I opened it. Don't know why the liquidity's so low though. I still have no idea what this is. Is it a scam? No, they have high. It's probably because it just launched. That's what they got the high. Yeah, it's 11 minutes old. I don't know. Anyway, started with 10. Well, that makes sense why we saw all those little buys. But it's got. I actually haven't seen one where there was so many buys like this in a bit. Oh, people are already. Some of these sniper wallets are already selling. Anyway, okay. We'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys. Have a good day. Reach out with any questions. If you have issues getting set up into the bot, let me know. Have fun, stay safe, make some money.